In this world, there are people who walk into a room and something shifts. They get the job, they get the deal, they get the second chance, they get listened to. And from the outside, it looks like it's luck or networking connections or just privilege. But if you watch them closely, it's none of those things. It's a specific set of skills that most people never develop, not because they are hard to learn, but because nobody told them these were the ones that actually matter. School taught you history, trigonometry, and nobody taught you how to speak so people actually listen. Nobody taught you how to write one sentence that makes someone stop scrolling and listen to you. Nobody taught you how to read a room or handle pressure or learn anything twice as fast as everyone else. And that's what I want to share with you. 7 skills, each one quietly compounding every single day once you have it. And there's one thing about these 7 skills. And once you start seeing results, they become very addictive and you don't want to stop. So let's get into it. Alright, here are the 7 skills that we're going to learn today. You have this PDF on the description. You can download it if you want. And let's start with the first one, public speaking. The number one fear in the world, according to multiple studies, isn't death, it's public speaking, which means most people will spend their entire lives avoiding the one skill that creates more opportunity than almost anything else. Think about it for a second. Every promotion, every pitch, every first impression, every moment someone decides whether to trust you or not involves you communicating in front of people in some way. And the person who can do that without flinching has an immediate structural advantage over everyone who can't. Here's what most people get wrong. They think public speaking is about being loud or charismatic. It is a mechanical skill, not a personality trait. What you have to do is pace, pause, make eye contact, then have a structure. In fact, researcher James McCroskey spent decades studying communication apprehension and found that the anxiety around public speaking drops dramatically, not with time, but with deliberate practice in low-stakes environments. Start small. Talk in meetings when you could just stay quiet, volunteer to present when no one else wants to, record yourself like I'm doing right now for a YouTube channel or just for your gallery for yourself. Make it uncomfortable, but it teaches you way faster. And I want to share with you some Bible knowledge, some Bible wisdom that we found in the story of Moses, the man who led an entire nation out of slavery, who spoke to Pharaoh, who delivered the law, told God at the burning bush, I'm not eloquent, I'm slow of speech. And God didn't say, okay, I'll find someone else. He said, go, I will be with your mouth. The skill was secondary to the willingness to show up anyway. That combination, willingness plus practice, is unstoppable. Willingness plus practice is unstoppable. We find this in Exodus 4:10-12. Now the skill number 2 is copywriting. Now let's define copywriting very quickly, and it's the ability to write words that make people do things. Buy something, click something, believe something, or change something. And before you think that's marketing, stop, because every email you send is copywriting. Every message you send to a potential employer is copywriting. Every time you try to convince someone that something is real, that what you're saying has meaning, that's copywriting. You're either doing it well or you're doing it badly. The person who can write one subject line that gets opened in a full inbox has an unfair advantage. The core of good copywriting is simple. Write for one person, not a crowd. Be specific, not general. Lead with what they get, not what you do, and end with one clear action. Not three options, not let me know what you think, or just one thing. Be clear, be specific. Now, David, well, here you have the surname, I don't know how to pronounce that. David, one of the greatest advertisers in history, said the headline is 80 cents of your dollar. The opening line is everything. If it doesn't stop people, nothing else matters. And we find in the Bible this verse: a word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in settings of silvers. That's not poetry for its own sake. It's describing precision, the right word in the right moment to the right person. That's copywriting. That's also wisdom. They are closer than people think. Now let's get to skill number 3, reading people. Most conflict in life isn't caused by bad intentions. It's caused by misread signals. This ability, the ability of reading people, is to understand what someone actually means, not just what they say. It's to notice the hesitation before they say yes, to see the discomfort behind the smile, and it's one of the most quietly powerful skills you can develop. Psychologist Paul Ekman spent decades mapping microexpressions. Microexpressions are involuntary facial movements that last a fraction of a second and reveal what someone is actually feeling. His research shows that most people miss this completely, but they can be trained. Start listening more than you talk. When someone speaks, stop preparing your response and actually hear them. Watch their body language, watch what people are actually emphasizing on and what they actually skip. If they have crossed arms, how people position themselves relative to others. The person who reads rooms accurately makes better decisions, better hires, better friendships, better everything. Jesus actually did this constantly. When we read in the Bible, he met Zacchaeus in a tree. He was a small man trying to disappear in a crowd, and he didn't just notice him. He named him, called him down, went to his house. He read the real need behind the visible behavior. The Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost, but the method was always personal, always specific, always starting with actually seeing the person in front of him. That's the skill, not manipulation, that's genuine attention. And we find this in Luke 19:5 and 1st of Samuel 16:7. Now let's go to the 4th skill, learning how to learn. Now this one is the skill underneath every other skill on the list. Most people learn slowly, not because they are not intelligent enough, but because nobody taught them how to learn. They read passively, they highlight things and feel productive, and they watch tutorials and think they have acquired this skill. Josh Kaufman says that in his book, The First 20 Hours, he found that it takes like 20 hours of deliberate focused practice to go from knowing nothing about a skill to being reasonably competent. Not 10,000 hours like most people say, that's to reach expert level, and 20 hours are enough to be functional and useful. The key word is deliberate. Passive consumption is not practice. Reading about swimming does not make you a swimmer. You have to do the thing, get feedback, adjust, and do it again, try again. The way we learn is teaching something. Teach it to someone else as soon as possible. The moment you try to explain something, you just learn. Every gap in your understanding becomes immediately obvious. You can't fake teaching, and it forces clarity. A way of teaching is like this, making YouTube videos. All this is information I'm sharing with you. I didn't have a clue about it, and now I'm trying to teach it to someone while I'll also learn about this. Now, if we look in the Bible, we got a very good example. Daniel is one of the most remarkable examples of this. He was taken from his home as a teenager, dropped into a completely foreign country, Babylon, It was like a different world, different language, different costumes, different religion, and within 3 years he mastered the entire knowledge system to the point where he was 10 times sharper than everyone else in the kingdom. That's crazy. 10 times. It wasn't like slightly better, it was 10 times. The text says God gave him learning skill, but Daniel also showed up every day. He did the work. Grace and effort aren't opposites. We find this in Daniel 1:17-20. Now let's get into the skill number 5, emotional regulation. Now this is very, very important. Emotional regulation is the ability to feel something intensely. Anger, fear, humiliation, anxiety, and still choose how you respond. I'm not talking about suppress. I'm talking about to pretend it isn't there. Choose what you do with it. Psychologist Walter Mischel's famous marshmallow experiment showed a correlation between the ability to delay gratification at age 4 and better outcomes in health, finances, and relationships decades later. The children who could wait weren't smarter. They had more control over their own responses. That's it. The person who can stay calm when they are being criticized has an advantage. The person who doesn't send the angry message at midnight has an advantage. The person who can't sit in discomfort without immediately escaping it through food or scrolling, drinking, anything, has an advantage that compounds quietly for years. In simple words, the pause is the skill. Before reacting, create a gap. Take a breath, name what you're feeling. Actually, the research by Matthew Lieberman at the UCLA shows that simply naming the emotion reduces its intensity in the brain. Say, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm upset, and you're already less angry, less upset, less frustrated. Proverbs 16:32 says, whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and whoever rules his spirit than he who takes a city. That was written 3,000 years ago. Okay, now let's see the skill number 6. Selling ideas. Every person on earth is selling something all the time. I'm not talking about products necessarily. I'm talking about ideas, perspectives, proposals, and themselves. The job interview is a sale. The first date is a sale. The moment you try to convince your family to change the plan or something, that's a sale. The ability to move people from I don't know, I'm not sure about this, to yes, I'm doing it, is one of the highest leverage skills in existence. And most people are bad at it for one reason. They lead with features, not feelings. They explain what something is instead of what it does for you. They talk about themselves instead of the person they are talking to. The most effective framework in the world for selling an idea is simple. Here's the problem you have, here's what it's costing you, here's the solution, and here's what your life will look like after. That's it. This is the framework. Problem, cost, solution, future, in that exact order. Nehemiah did this perfectly. He wanted to rebuild Jerusalem, a massive, expensive, politically dangerous project. He went to King, the most powerful man in the world at the time, and he didn't open with logistics. He opened with the problem. The city where my fathers are buried lies in ruins. He made the king feel the cost before he asked for anything. He opened with the problem. The city where my fathers are buried lies in ruins. He made the king feel the cost before he asked for anything, and the king gave him everything he needed. That's not manipulation, that's clarity. And we're finishing with the last skill, number 7, showing up constantly. The most underrated competitive advantage in the world is simply doing what you said you would do. When you said you would do it, without needing to feel motivated first. Consistency is rare. Some days ago I saw a post that says, consistency is the new luxury. Genuinely rare. Most people are brilliant in bursts, excited for 2 weeks, then gone. They start the change, they start the channel, the gym, the business, the book, and somewhere around the week 3, When the novelty wears off and the results haven't arrived yet, they stop. The person who doesn't stop, who shows up on the hard days, the boring days, the day when nobody's watching, that person is almost impossible to compete with. Not because they are more talented, but because they are still there when everyone else has left. James Clear, in the book Atomic Habits, says 1% daily improvement compounds to 30 times in a year. Consistency beats talent when talent doesn't show up. And here's what I kept coming back to. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." Due season, not immediately, not when you feel like it, in due season. Every skill on this list requires consistency. Every skill on this list requires consistency to become the unfair advantage I promised at the start of this video. Public speaking without practice stays fear. Copywriting without repetition stays average. Reading people without attention stays guessing. Now I want you to pick one, just one, and commit to 20 hours of deliberate practice before the summer ends.